Hello and welcome to the world of LocoFi. This is part 1 of the long overdue video about App Update 2.20 that was released back in March 2019. We recommend that you keep the Loco Config cheat sheet handy while watching this video. The cheat sheet can be downloaded by going to the resources section of our website at www.wifi-modelrailroad.com. First, a quick recap of the features introduced in App Update 2.10, like the app preferences, such as display splash screen on startup, enabling disabling cab sounds, and haptic control. In addition, we also introduced Loco config options starting with the auto reverse lights. You can find more details about this update in the corresponding video about App Update 2.10 under the video section of our website. In this video, we will show how App Update 2.20 expands onto the Loco config options like number of throttle speed steps, reverse lights direction, reverse engine direction, and momentum inertia while accelerating as well as decelerating. Part 2 of the video will deal with configuring the Loco scale speed and how to make it more prototypical. Again, we are just scratching the surface of what is possible. As the LocoFi technology expands, so will the features, most of which will be delivered free over the air with just a touch of a button without any new hardware to buy. Apart from the config options, we also introduced a helpful and diagnostic feature like being able to see the details about a loco. For example, its IP and MAC address, its signal strength or RSSI, model number, and firmware version. We also introduced the ability to reset to factory defaults. In fact, we recommend that as soon as you receive a new piece of hardware from us, you do factory reset as a first step before customizing your Loco config settings. Before going back to config settings in detail, let's first fire up the engine. For our test, we are going to use a UPGE ES44 Walters mainline fitted with a DDL-LHA. The track is powered by an old laptop power supply of about 16 volts 4 amps. Let's test the horn and lights. First, let's quickly revisit how the auto reverse lights work. We enable the setting and go back, and you can see that only the light corresponding to the direction of the loco is enabled and how changing the reverser switches the lights. Now let's check the loco direction. Oops, it moves in reverse when we have selected to move it forward. Let's fix it. But we can't change anything because all the settings are disabled while the loco is moving. This is a safety feature because of course we don't want to reverse the engine direction while the loco is pulling a long train or at high speeds. So let's first stop the loco. Going back to settings, let's first disable the auto reverse lights. Going back automatically saves the settings to the loco. Now the lights can be independently switched again. Just to double check, slightly throttle up and it moves backward. Back into settings, let's enable switch engine direction. Go back, again it saves the settings automatically to the loco, and let's try again. Yay, you can see it moves forward. This setting is helpful if you accidentally reverse the motor wires. Next, you can see the light's direction is correct. Just to show you how the next setting works, let's enable reverse light's direction, and you can see that pressing the switch for the front light will now actually light the rear light and vice versa. Let's reset this setting as well back to the original. Next we will see how by default there are 8 notches. For finer throttle control, for example some European modern electric locomotives, the throttle is a ramp up with finer speed control. So with setting the number of throttle speed steps to a higher number, say 255, 256, we can achieve that. As you can see, the slider is much more smooth now. Now let's look at the momentum settings. Let's first increase the accelerating momentum and see what happens. The loco seems to be finding a hard time pulling a real heavy train, or so it seems. But it comes to a stop pretty quickly due to a very low decelerating momentum. Now let's increase the decelerating momentum and lower the accelerating momentum and see what happens. You can see the loco now speeds up pretty quickly as there is very little accelerating momentum. But whoa, we just let a train loose. With such a high decelerating momentum, there seems to be no brakes now. Let's wait for it to come back around the loop. It doesn't seem to have slowed down much even after traveling almost a quarter scale mile. And you can also watch the speedometer showing a very slow decline in the speed. In the essence of time, since we do not want to wait forever for it to come to a stop, let's just reboot it for now until the day braking feature is added. By the way, this is one of the other cool options we introduced in our update 2.10 and can be seen in action now. So we first have to release the loco before we can reboot, or else anyone can, which is not good. The loco is now reset. Let's fire up the engine again. To quickly bring our loco to its spot, let's bring the momentum to its lowest value. Okay, the loco is back in its spot. So now let's try coasting with a medium setting. You can watch the speedometer to see how slow the speed comes down, but which is not as slow as it was, before the reboot. And by the way, the speed that you see on the speedometer is real, not fake. Just to show a little comparison between default slowest momentum and coasting, let's make the accelerating momentum medium and coasting to its lowest value. You will notice that the Loco accelerated very fast as it is at its lowest setting, but is rather slow decelerating at its lowest setting. This is done intentionally to bring more realism. Once we have braking, it will make it even more real. So that's it for these features. So let's bring the Loco back to its spot again and shut it down. Many thanks if you made it this far. Hope you find the new settings interesting. One thing we did not touch upon was the setting towards the middle of the settings screen. Those will be dealt with in part 2 when we discuss speed matching, which is the precursor to much awaited consisting. The result is that when you see what you see in the speedometer is what it is, and of course, more prototypicalness. Last but not the least, please leave your feedback about the config options and their ease of use using a GUI compared to the CVs. And we would also love to hear what other features options you would like to have. Please feedback in the comment section below. Thank you.